The case of Uber, we've gone through this before. There are companies, and I'm using them as an example, but they've been before this committee before and they've given evidence where there is media commentary in that and there's questioning about whether or not how they've structured themselves in a way where documents don't exist in Australia that you would require to be able to adequately pursue that. Do you want to explain some of the frustrations in those?
Well, look, you know it's difficult to talk about individual taxpayers, but given you know the evidence, and that's on the public, they bill from the Netherlands, so they say the 20% tax, that the fee they take from each of those is billed over there, in that classic sort of activity here but bill overseas type thing. They hold information over there that we find very difficult to get, because part of the issue here is a compliance measure. Taxi drivers want to make sure Uber drivers are paying tax on their fees because they feel like that's unjust, and that would be wrong. So for us to get a list of the drivers would be a very useful thing to do, but sometimes some companies argue that that's held overseas and their parent won't give it to them, or it's all too difficult. So we have to go through other means. We have to go through the bank of that company.
So
here
Mr.
in
John,
Australia.
have you got a list of Uber drivers? Were you able to obtain that from the company?
Look, I don't want to, go specifically. We've been able to go to banks and work our way through payments and identify drivers. Some are just suppliers, but some are drivers. So we sort of get there, but it does sort of, I think it's interesting when they come here and say, we will comply with all legal obligations, we will comply with all tax laws, but then find it convenient not to be able to provide a list of drivers.
And Mr. John, I mean, I've heard, and again, that this may or may not be true, but I want to just confirm with you that some of these firms will actually pay people's wages into foreign accounts. These types of firms, not specifically, will pay into a foreign bank to help avoid detection through your systems. Are you aware of that? Is that a real problem?
I'm not aware of that in particular, but in the Uber situation, my understanding is their payment into the drivers' accounts here in Australia and going through banks, taking a long time, a lot more effort. We eventually get there, and we are in the process of writing to people saying, did you receive X thousand dollars?